Long ago, in the ancient kingdom of Kosala, where the rivers flowed gently and the fields stretched endlessly under the vast blue sky, the Buddha traveled from village to village. His presence was like a gentle breeze, bringing peace wherever he went. His teachings of compassion, mindfulness, and liberation touched the hearts of many, but not everyone was ready to listen. One day, as the sun hung high in the sky, casting golden rays over the land, the Buddha arrived at a small farming community. The villagers were simple folk, their hands calloused from years of labor, their faces weathered by the sun. They worked hard, but life was not easy. Droughts, floods, and pests often threatened their crops, and their hearts carried the weight of uncertainty. Among them was a farmer named Ravi. Ravi was known for his fiery temper. His anger was like a storm, sudden, fierce, and destructive. When he was angry, his voice could be heard across the fields, and his words cut like a knife. His neighbors avoided him, and even his family walked on eggshells around him. Ravi's anger had become his prison, and he didn't know how to break free. One afternoon, as Ravi toiled in his fields, sweat dripping from his brow, something terrible happened. His oxen, startled by a stray dog, broke free from their yoke. They thrashed and stomped, trampling the crops Ravi had worked so hard to grow. The stalks of grain, once tall and golden, now lay crushed and broken in the dust. Ravi's face turned red, his fists clenched, and he screamed at the top of his lungs. He cursed the oxen, he cursed the dog, and he even cursed the sky. "Why does this always happen to me?" he shouted, his voice echoing across the fields. His anger burned so fiercely that it seemed to scorch the very air around him. Just then, the Buddha happened to be passing by. He had been walking quietly, his footsteps barely making a sound on the dusty path. He saw Ravi's outburst and paused. The villagers, who had gathered at a distance, whispered among themselves. "Oh no," one said, "Ravi's temper has caught the attention of the enlightened one. What will happen now?" "Friend," the Buddha said, his voice as soft as a summer breeze, "why do you let your anger consume you so? Why? Look at what's happened. My oxen have ruined my crops. My hard work is destroyed. How can I not be angry? Tell me, Ravi," the Buddha said, his eyes filled with compassion, "if you were to hold a burning coal in your hand with the intention of throwing it at someone, who would be hurt first?" "Well, I suppose I would be hurt. The coal would burn my hand." "Exactly," the Buddha replied. "Your anger is like that burning coal. When you hold on to it, you are the one who gets burned. It consumes you from within, leaving no room for peace or joy." Ravi stood still for a moment, his chest heaving as he processed the Buddha's words. He looked down at his hands, calloused and dirty from years of labor, and then at the ruined crops. The fire of his anger began to flicker, but it wasn't yet extinguished. But what am I supposed to do? My crops are ruined. My family will go hungry. How can I not feel anger when life is so unfair? Life is indeed filled with challenges, Ravi, the Buddha said. But anger will not grow your crops anew. It will not feed your family. Instead, it will only cloud your mind and prevent you from finding a solution. Let go of the anger, and you will see clearly. The Buddha's words were like a gentle rain, soothing the parched earth of Ravi's heart. Slowly, the farmer's shoulders relaxed, and his fists unclenched. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his anger begin to lift. But how do I let it go? The anger feels like a part of me. Anger is not who you are, Ravi, the Buddha said. It is like a cloud passing through the sky. Observe it, acknowledge it, but do not let it define you. Breathe deeply and remind yourself that this moment too shall pass. Ravi closed his eyes and took a long, slow breath. For the first time in years, he felt a glimmer of peace. When he opened his eyes, the Buddha was still there, smiling softly. Now, let us see what can be done about your crops. Gather your neighbors, and together, you can replant the fields. When we work with compassion and unity, even the greatest challenges can be overcome. And so, Ravi did as the Buddha suggested. He called his neighbors, and together, they worked to restore the fields. As they toiled side by side, Ravi felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: gratitude. His anger had melted away, replaced by a sense of connection and purpose. From that day forward, Ravi was a changed man. Whenever anger arose, he remembered the Buddha's words and the image of the burning coal. He learned to breathe, to observe, and to let go. And in doing so, he found the peace he had been searching for all along. And so, dear listener, remember this: anger is like a burning coal. When you hold on to it, you are the one who gets burned. But if you let it go, you free yourself from its grip. Just as Ravi learned from the Buddha, peace begins with a single breath, a single moment of letting go. Take a deep breath now. Feel the stillness within you. And know that, no matter how fierce the storm, peace is always within your reach. Thanks for listening.